Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Revolutionary Girl Utena episode 5. So, last time we began the first part of a multi-parter, probably just a two-parter, and we got introduced to this boy who is also part of the chosen competitors for the Rose Bride. He has the ring, and unlike the others, he's actually pretty cool. He's very nice and kind. He's helpful. He is a caring person. And we see that his kind of motivation is Anthe currently. He had a sister in the past who presumably died, and Anthe reminds him of her. And he has become completely smitten with her, which by no means is a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with him falling in love with her, even though obviously, we're kind of going for Utena and Anthe. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think it's cute. I think he's cute. I think he's adorable, and he definitely deserves love. He's a good person, and I almost want to see him succeed, but I don't at the same time. We got a glimpse at the fact that there will be a battle between Utena and him. And I'm just wondering how it's going to get to that point. I mean, like I said, clearly he is smitten with Anthe, but what's going to make him get to the point where he feels he needs to challenge her? Because he doesn't seem like that kind of person right now. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to all turn out. But I do want to bring something up here that I brought up in another video recently. So just the other day, I made a video about like arcs and whatnot, and arc separation within the shows I'm currently reacting to, and various other things like that regarding shows that I am reacting to or I will be reacting to. And one of the shows I brought up in that video was Revolutionary Girl Utena. And I noted how I found out that the series has 4 distinct arcs. Now, I don't know the spoilers behind these arcs, thankfully. I just know that it has 4 distinct arcs, and I know what points the arcs, what episodes the arcs happen at. And so, I had been thinking, you guys know how, with a lot of shows, I'll take a break just to keep myself refreshed on the series, so I don't get too bored or too overwhelmed by it, and then I come back and I'm feeling much more refreshed and ready to go with it again. I knew with the episode count of this series, with it being 39 episodes, I knew we were going to need to take a break, and so I was wondering how to do it. And I decided that we're going to take a break after the first arc, watch something else in the meantime, then come back to this. Then we'll do the second arc, take another break, and then we'll do the third and fourth arcs together because the fourth arc is extremely short. So we'll kind of just do it that way. I think that would be the best way to handle it at the moment, to where it's going to keep me from being too overwhelmed by the series and just losing interest. Because it's like some shows I can watch pretty much forever without that having to be a worry. One Piece is a great example of that, but that's also because of how much I absolutely adore the series, how much I love One Piece, and I already know how much I love it. With Revolutionary Girl Utena, it's an older anime, and it's not something that I know as well by this point. Like, think about it. With One Piece, we're almost 1,000 episodes in. So, of course, I know this series very well. I know that I'm going to enjoy it. I know that I'm not going to have really any issue with that. So I can watch episodes after episodes after episodes without getting bored, without getting disinterested. But with Utena, it's like I've only seen 4 episodes at this point, because this is the fifth. I've only seen 4 episodes, period, for this. And I'm liking it. I very much am, but I don't know how much that's going to continue with where the series goes, because I don't know where the series is going to go. So, in order to keep myself from a reactionary standpoint from growing bored or growing disinterested in general with the series, just due to kind of just becoming oversaturated with it, I guess you could say, I think it would be the best idea to take these breaks in this way. So, mind you, this is still only episode 5, so we're still only like under halfway before we even have to worry about taking a break from Utena. So it's not like it's happening anytime soon. Um, but this is just the gist of how it's kind of going to go. So after episode 13 is when we will take our first break. At that point, we'll go on and react to something else, and then we'll come right back to Utena. I'm hoping not to have it be like some other stuff I've done where it's like it just ends up being a while. I hope for it to be like one show in between. Especially since I am enjoying this so much. But I did want to let you guys know that ahead of time, just what the plan is for this series. And I think like it being on episode or after episode 13 is a really good number too, because that's basically the length of a full series for some cases. So it's like that's kind of a good point to pause at. So I just think it works out. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know, keep you guys in the up and up on what's going to happen with this. And hopefully, this series continues to impress me to where the breaks are helpful, but not even fully needed. I mean, I'm still going to take them just to be safe, but if the series continues to impress me enough, it might feel like they're not even fully needed because they might just be that good. um, because the series might just be that good for me. But yeah, either way, we're going to get this started. Let's see how, again, I presume this is only a 2-parter, but I don't know. It could be a 3-parter. Let's see how this maybe ends or at least continues. I do hope that even though this kid's probably going to lose to Utena in the fight, I do hope he finds happiness nonetheless, because he clearly deserves it. So yeah, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I would say that there are 2 things true about the series. 1, this is a very popular series that has gained a lot of attention, especially in the more modern day, and people look back on it very fondly. It is one of the more just notable series from the past that is super popular and just gets a lot of attention from people, even now. And the second thing I know is that this series doesn't get enough attention. Even though it's pretty popular, even though a lot of people look at it fondly, and especially for its LGBTQ plus themes, for the time it came out in and everything, it's still a more obscure anime compared to the likes of the big mainstream shows like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, um, Digimon, Pokemon, or even ones less mainstream but still pretty well known, like Card Captors, or Card Captor Sakura in Japan. Um, it never gained that level of notoriety. It never really reached that like level of just true like fame and popularity. And it's really sad because every episode I watch of this impresses me more and more. Not just how epic they make the duels come across with the grandiose music and the ridiculously over the top imagery. It's the character work, the story, the emotional connection you feel to these characters. And it's surprising to me how this series just isn't talked enough about. And again, there are a lot of fans of it. There are a lot of people who look at this series very fondly, and a lot of people who talk about it quite a lot. But in the grand scheme of things, it's still just a niche group. It's still not the mainstream. And I just really wish it were. I wish this were as popular, as famous, as well known as the likes of Dragon Ball Z or Sailor Moon or any of these others. I wish it were as big of a name that was just synonymous with anime as stuff like that. And there's been a lot of series that I've thought that with for sure. And throughout the years, obviously, popularity with anime has evolved to where it's a completely different story nowadays than it was in the past. In the past, a lot of anime just didn't get as much attention just because they weren't as well mainstream in terms of being shown and everything through televisions and DVD sales and whatnot, or VHS sales, even in that time. Um, you just didn't get a lot of these other anime being shown. But nowadays, with all the streaming services and everything else, it's like almost any anime can gain popularity. Not just the big ones that are heavily licensed. You'll find anime that gain extremely huge mainstream popularity that you never would have expected to. And it's because of the different times, the different situations with streaming and DVD sales and all of that stuff, or Blu-ray sales now. But you get the point. Back in those times, a lot of shows flew under the radar for a lot of people and only became more popular later on. And Revolutionary Girl Utena, I feel, was one of them. One of those ones that probably flew under the radar for most people when it was airing here in the West. But then after the fact, it ended up gaining this cult following and became much more well known in the community. And that's all well and good. There's nothing wrong with anime or movies or anything else that have a cult following. In fact, I think that's awesome. But I almost wish this was mainstream because it's good. It's like really good. And I did not expect that going in. When I first started this series, I was interested in it because of the stuff I've heard honestly about the queer representation. I wanted to see what it was actually like and how they actually represented that in those times when this anime came out. Because back in those days, it was no, it was not great for representation, and it was not great for queer people in general. So I wanted to see what the actual truth of the matter was and how this was handled. I went into this knowing almost nothing about this series, and I'm only 5 episodes in now, but I'm genuinely finding it to be fantastic. Again, the character work alone. Like, this character, Mickey, is technically an antagonist. Not a bad guy, just an antagonist. He is a member of the student council. He challenges Utena to a duel. He is an antagonist. But at the same time, he's made to be so likable and so friendly and so nice and just a good so much of a good person who just wants to have that feeling, that good feeling from playing piano again that he's been searching for. It's like you understand him and you care about him and you want to see the best for him. And so it's like with the ending duel, it's like if he had won, it'd be like, oh, I can accept that because he would treat Anthe right. Unlike Sayanji, he wouldn't abuse her. He would treat her honestly like royalty. And I don't think she would even mind that. Because again, Sayanji abused her. Like, you could tell she was not happy with that situation. But here, even after he loses, she goes to him and comforts him. She goes to Mickey and tells him it's okay and asks him to still be friends with her. And it's like, not only does it just really hammer in just how great of a character Mickey is and how great the writing in this series is, but it hammers in very hard how awesome Anthe is. And it's like, considering this entire series is revolving around the fact that she is this Rose Bride and is being forced into this situation, that she's not free, and that now both Utena and Mickey believe that she should be. It's like they're working up to something very clearly. And while they're doing it, they are making Anthe to be the most sympathetic character in this series. They are making us just fall in love with her. And I'm almost afraid to know why. And don't tell me. Do not tell me anything. I am super invested in this series right now. I do not want to know any spoilers. But I am curious still as to why they're building her up in such a positive way. I'm worried. I don't think she's gonna like end up being a secret bad guy or anything, no. But I'm worried that something's going to happen to her. And that she's gonna possibly be put in danger or something. That's what I'm more concerned about here. And I don't want to see that. Because they're making us as viewers adore her. And that, just from other anime, that concerns me. So we also saw in this episode that the student council president, who is all kinds of unnecessary in this episode. Not like in terms of writing or anything. It's just he's acting unnecessary. Like he's acting all manipulative and sexy, and it's annoying as shit. It's like I said it before, but he very clearly has alternative motives here. He's not like just acting out of the kindness of his heart, and this episode proves it. He's very much like, we know he's a playboy for one, but we also can see here that he's very much a player. Like he's playing everyone here. He's manipulating everything. He's pulling the strings. And he's still not even, presumably, the main enemy. There's still this end of the world that they have to face. The one that's pulling the strings, but behind this entire student council and everything. And we have no idea who or what this entity is. It could be a group. It could be a single person. It could be some kind of God, for all we know. I wouldn't put it past anime to do something like that. I've seen anime do stuff like that. But yeah, it's just like I I'm really curious about what that reveal is going to be. Because who or whatever end of the world is, I feel like that's going to be the biggest reveal and probably one of the biggest moments in this series. Just because they are so subtly and so just slowly building up to it. To it, him, her, I don't know. They. I don't know. I'm worried though, because if the student council is this fucked up, what's the deal with End of the World? And why is End of the World doing this in the first place? I'm just going to say they for now to keep it simple. Why are they forcing Anthe to be this Rose Bride? And why is Anthe just allowing it? There's got to be something. Maybe End of the World has something on Anthe? I don't know. Maybe they're threatening her or someone she cares about? But what would be the point? Why would they be doing this? That's what I don't get. Like, what is the actual motive for forcing this competition, basically, with Anthe as a prize? That's what I want to know. And why does it normally seem to only be for the student council, but then why does Utena have a ring? There's a lot of questions, and I assume they're going to be answered, but my mind is just turning, the cogs are spinning. I'm just really curious as to what's actually going on here. Hopefully, we find out before the very end of the series. I would hope we do, but I mean, I don't know. Either way, this episode was very enjoyable. The stuff with Mickey and seeing like that his sister is still alive, which I was not sure on. I honestly thought she was dead based on what we had last episode. And to find out like his backstory and everything, and why he's been looking for this music, why he's been just so enthralled with Anthe, and especially just his motivations for everything. And it's a sad backstory. And I hope that he is able to reconcile things with his sister and maybe get close to her again. But it was a really interesting note to find out that she was never even that good. He idolized her playing, and she was never even that good. She was just kind of had like this awkward playing style that never quite got it spot on. But because Mickey always played with her, he just kind of assumed that what he was hearing was her piano playing, when in reality it was both of theirs. It was their duet that he was hearing. He put her so high on a pedestal that he didn't realize that he was part of that as well, that it was just as much him. And I feel like it hurt him. So I do hope Mickey returns. I do hope he continues to be a character. And I really hope that he is able to reconcile stuff with his sister and just realize more about where he went wrong, as well as just continue to be friends with Anthony and Utena, because he's still just a really legitimately great person. And I think that he could be a good friend, a good ally, even. Plus, having someone in the student council wouldn't hurt. Little informant. um, don't know if he'll play that role, but you know, it wouldn't hurt. But either way, I am definitely very excited to see where this continues to go. And as a reminder, we will be taking a break after the first arc ends, after episode 13. We'll be taking a break, watching something else, and then coming right back to it for the next arc. I just think it's the right move to make to get this all done well. But we still have a good number of episodes left before we have to even worry about that. We still have plenty of weeks of Utena before we get to that point. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Revolutionary Girl Utena? And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.